All right, let's take a look at a sample problem that has us looking at when we dispose of an asset. So this particular problem says Cooper Industries had a piece of equipment that cost $56,000 and had accumulated depreciation of $25,000. Okay, so let's make a mental note of that. If we have accumulated depreciation, well, let's draw a little T account here. So let's say we had equipment, and then we have our accumulated depreciation. All right, so hopefully you know that equipment, which is an asset, carries a debit balance. So we would see $56,000 as the balance for our piece of equipment. And then our accumulated depreciation, which is a contra asset account, will carry a credit balance of $25,000. So when we go to get rid of this particular asset, we need to zero out those two balances. So then the question becomes, what is it that we know? And we know that we need to get rid of those two balances. So we're going to go ahead and credit our equipment $56,000. And we know we're going to need to debit accumulated depreciation $25,000. So those two things we already know. Then in this particular case, in scenario A, it says we didn't get anything. All right. So we know we need to credit our equipment for $56,000. That's going to bring our new balance in our equipment account to zero. Those two will offset each other. And our accumulated depreciation will go to zero if we go ahead and debit that. So equipment, we said we're going to credit $56,000. That'll get rid of the equipment on our balance sheet. We're going to debit our accumulated depreciation for $25,000. Now here's the deal. $56,000, remember I always say our debits have to equal our credits. $56,000 does not equal $25,000. So we know we're going to need some sort of a debit here to make those two match. And then that is going to be either our gain or loss. That's how we handle these types of problems. Go ahead and enter what we know, and what we don't know will become our gain or loss. So $56,000 minus $25,000 will mean we're going to have a loss on disposal of equipment for $31,000. Now my two debits will equal my credit of $56,000. Debits are a loss. Credits, if we have one, will be a gain on disposal. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll do another one of these. Same scenario, only this time now we're going to sell the equipment for, we're going to sell the equipment for $34,000 cash. Okay, so I've gone ahead in here and we've entered what we know. The other thing that we know now is that we're selling that piece of equipment for $34,000 in cash. So we know once we receive cash, we're going to go ahead and debit cash. So now my debits, it looks like, if I add those two together, would be $59,000. Well, shoot. My debits don't equal my credits. The difference is going to be $3,000. Which is going to be a gain on sale. The other way we can do that, which I should have mentioned to you before, is we can calculate the book value. So book value is going to be the cost minus our accumulated depreciation. So the particular cost that we have on this asset was $56,000 minus accumulated depreciation of $25,000 or $31,000. Okay, so this is our book value. That's what we say the value of this particular asset is on our books. Now, if we receive $34,000 in cash, what's that tell you? We have a gain of $3,000. We thought our equipment was only worth $31,000. That's what we say it's worth in our books, but we received $34,000. Hence the gain of $3,000. So you can kind of double check that as well. One more scenario. Let's take a look. This time we're going to trade the equipment in on a new piece of equipment costing $58,000. Cooper was granted a $34,500 trade-in allowance for the old equipment and paid the difference in cash. Okay, so let's figure that out. So if the new equipment cost us $58,000 and we were given a $34,500 trade-in allowance, what does that mean that we actually paid in cash? Looks like that's going to be $23,500 is going to be our cash that we're paying for that new piece of equipment. Alright, so let's work through here. Again, let's go ahead and enter what we know. We always know we've got to credit the old equipment. We've got to debit the accumulated depreciation associated with that old equipment. The new equipment, it tells us, is worth $58,000, which is also the fair market value of the old equipment plus any cash or consideration given up. We just figured out that we're going to have to pay $23,500 for that. Now, again, we can look and see if our debits equal our credits. So our debits, it looks like, are about $83,000. And our credits are $79,500. That's a difference of $3,500. That $3,500 is going to be a gain on the exchange of assets. Now my debits should equal my credits and we're all good to go.